Hello, my dear children. So let's continue with what we started last time. In the last class, we studied electromagnetic induction, its definition, and various laws governing it. Today, we will study applications of electromagnetic induction, and in the process, we will study motional electromagnetic induction, we will study self electromagnetic induction, we study mutual electromagnetic induction, and finally we will study eddy currents. So one of these four applications, that is motional electromagnetic induction, is the agenda of the day. Children, motional electromagnetic induction is one of the four types of electromagnetic inductions we are going to study. Well, as obvious from the name itself, motional electromagnetic induction. This is electromagnetic induction which takes place in a conductor as it moves through a magnetic field. It may perform translatory motion or the conductor may perform a rotational motion. So because of the motion of conductor in a magnetic field, there is an electric potential difference induced across it. That potential difference is called as motional EMF, and the phenomenon is called as motional electromagnetic induction. Well, we have a state conductor of length L, and it is moving in transverse magnetic field. This is B, uniform magnetic field, and this uniform magnetic field, the conductor of length L is moving towards right with constant velocity V. Well, there is going to be a potential difference induced across the ends of this wire of this conductor. Why? Because as this conductor moves from one place to another place in this transverse magnetic field, it sweeps certain area. And what happens? The flux line in that shaded area which the conductor is going to sweep, that flux passes through this conductor one after another. So what is change of flux as conductor moves from one place to another place? Well, whatever area it sweeps, in that area the flux line or the flux change passing through the conductor as it moves from here to here. So let us assume that conductor moves for time t. Let us assume that conductor moves for time t with velocity v. If conductor moves for time t with velocity v, how much distance it is going to cover? It is going to cover distance, the distance it is going to cover is what? Velocity into time t. So as conductor A moves from this position to this position where it is read as A dashed, the distance covered is going to be what? Vt. We observe the motion of conductor for time t. In time t with velocity v, conductor is going to cover distance vt. So this distance is vt. Well, the area it sweeps is this much. So the flux line in this shaded area is the change of flux passing through this conductor. What is the flux line in this shaded area? The flux line in this shaded area is going to be B, the magnetic field, into the value of this shaded area, BA. This is transverse magnetic field. Therefore, the flux passing through this area would be what? Maximum, BA cos 0. That is the value of flux is BA, theta is 0. Well, so what is change of flux? Change of flux is B into this shaded area, and the time in which that change of flux takes place is T. What is B? B written as it is. What is area? Area is length into width. The value of this shaded area is length into width, and that length into width is what? B, and this is area is what? Length into width, L into Vt divided by T. You can see that T cancels out, and what are we left with? Induced EMF is BLV. This is the value of induced EMF. B the magnetic field, L the length, and V the velocity with which the conductor is going through this magnetic field. We can also find out the polarity of this induced EMF. For that we have to use the same mother father child rules, Fleming's left hand rule. See, the magnetic field is where? Cross, and the conductor is moving towards right. This is tallest finger along velocity. So where is thumb? thumb is pointing up. So what is this up? This up, that is direction of thumb, is the direction of force acting over positive charges. Therefore, what happens? Every positive charge moves along thumb, and this end becomes what? Positive. And every negative charge experiences force in opposite direction. Therefore, this end becomes what? Negative. So this end of the conductor is positive, and this end of the conductor becomes what? Negative. This is the polarity of induced EMF. And how we have found out the polarity? For polarity, we are using the same very popular Fleming's left hand rule. This is magnetic field, this is velocity, this is force. So magnetic field is cross, velocity of the conductor is towards right. If v is the velocity of conductor, then v is also going to be the velocity of each and every charge carrier, free charge carriers inside the conductor. So every free charge carrier is moving towards right, and the force acting over positive charge carrier is in the direction of thumb, and force acting over negative charges, that is electron, is just opposite. So all electron get accumulated here, and all positive charges get accumulated over this end, and this potential difference we have found out as BLV. Well, there is another alternate way of finding out this potential difference. What is that alternate way? See, this is a magnified diagram of the conductor. This is a magnified diagram of the conductor. As this conductor is moving towards right, we have just understood that the force acts over electron. Magnetic force acts over electron in the downward direction. This is the magnetic force acting over each and every electron. And as this magnetic force acts over electron, what happens? This end becomes negative, and this end acquires positive polarity. There is polarization of the conductor. Negative charge is accumulated here, positive charge is accumulated over this end. Now, because of this potential difference, there is an electric field created. Because of this magnetic force, there is electric polarization. There is accumulation of charges over the ends, and the moment these charges are accumulated, there is an electric field set up in the conductor from positive to negative. And you know, in electric field, every charge experiences force. If it is positive in the direction of field, if it is negative in the direction opposite of the field. Well, in conductor, the free charge carriers are electrons. So Fm is the magnetic force over electron, which is in this direction, and because of this magnetic force, the negative charge and this positive charge, they are created, and the moment these charges are created, electric field is created, and by virtue of that electric field, every electron experiences force towards this positive charge. And see, this electric force is just opposite of magnetic force. So as long magnetic force is greater than electric force, the potential difference increases, but gradually a stage is reached when electric force becomes equal to magnetic force. Initially, there is no electric force. When the conductor is at rest, there is no polarization, there is no electric force, but as the conductor starts moving, magnetic force starts acting in this direction. Because of magnetic force, there is electric polarization, and the moment there is electric polarization, there is an electric field set up in the conductor, and by virtue of that electric field, every electron experiences electric force towards this positive charge. Well, finally, a stage is reached when electric force and magnetic force, they balance each other. When electric force and magnetic force balance each other, there is a fixed potential difference across the ends of the conductor. That potential difference is what is called as motional electromagnetic induction. So in equilibrium, magnetic force and electric force are equal to each other. Magnetic force is what? B, the value of charge is EV, BQV, BEV, and electric force is what? Charge into value of electric field, that is E into E. What is electric field E, which is set up in this conductor, is what? The potential difference, that is this decorative E upon L, the length of the conductor. If we substitute for E, induced EMF upon L, well, we can see that this E cancels out. What do we get? E is equal to BLV. This is the value of induced EMF which is created. So this is another way of finding out the induced EMF, motional induced EMF across the same conductor. Children, induced EMF is always produced across the ends of the conductor, but induced current is produced only when the two ends across which potential difference is created are close to each other, and when they are close to each other, they are connected with what? A resistance R, which is called as load. So if the two ends of this conductor are brought in contact with each other, there is an electric current. Well, the two ends of the conductor are brought in contact by moving this conductor. We make this conductor move over smooth conducting rails. So these are smooth conducting rails. This is smooth conducting rail. This smooth conducting rail is nothing but, these smooth conducting rails are nothing but two smooth conductors, and this wire, the separation between the two conductors is same as the length of this conductor. So the two ends of the wire, they always remain in contact with each other as this conductor moves. As this conductor slides over this smooth wires get parallel to each other, when the two ends are always in contact with each other and there is a resistance R connected. So what happens? This is electron axis center, negative end, this is positive end. So electron move from here to here. As electron move from this electron excess end to this electron deficient end, the current flows in opposite direction. So the current flows like this. This is the value of current. As we connect this resistance R, the current flows like this. And what is the value of current? This value of current is going to be the value of induced EMF upon the value of resistance. E is what? BLV, and R is the resistance. So the value of induced current is BLV upon R. This is the value of induced current. Now, what is work done? This conductor as moves through the magnetic field, there is constantly work done by external agency. There is constant dissipation of energy by external source. So how much energy is dissipated per second, how much energy is used in moving this conductor every second, how much work is done in moving this conductor per second, that is what we are going to calculate. Well, we have found out the value of induced EMF, that is voltage. We have found out the value of current. If current and voltage are multiplied, what do we get? Power. And what is power? Power itself is work per unit time or energy per second. So if we find out the value of P, the product of E and I, what do we get? We get the value of work done in moving the conductor per second or energy used in moving the conductor per second in transverse magnetic field as shown here. So what is work done per second? E into I. And what is I? This I is equal to E upon R. This I is E upon R, and if we substitute I E upon R, we get what? P as E square upon R. What is value of E? Value of E is BLV. If we substitute the value of E as BLV, we get the value of power as B square L square V square upon R. This is the value of energy required to move the conductor per second, or work done in moving the conductor per second. Now, what is force required to move the conductor? Well, there is a constant force required. The conductor is not going to move itself in magnetic field. We have to pull it. So, what is the constant pulling force required to move the conductor? Well, we know that power is also the product of the constant force and the velocity generated by the force. So, power is force into velocity. So, for power we write force into velocity, and the value of power right hand side remains same. So we can see that one value of V cancels out. So what do we get external force as? We get external force as B square L square V upon R. This is the value of constant force required to keep the conductor moving in magnetic field with the velocity V. Children, let us know the general expression for induced EMF. The situation in which we have found out the value of motional EMF is the situation where all three vectors which are involved here, that is length vector, velocity vector and magnetic field vector. If we look at this derivation which we have just done, there are three vectors involved, B, L and V, and all three vectors are perpendicular to each other. Well, you see here the velocity is along positive x-axis, the length of the conductor is what? Along y-axis, and magnetic field is where? Along z-axis. So all three vectors are perpendicular to each other. What if these vectors are not perpendicular to each other? What? if these vectors are not perpendicular to each other, let us say angle between B and L is alpha, angle between L and B is beta, and angle between B and B is what? Gamma. So in this situation, when all these three vectors are not perpendicular to each other, they make an angle alpha, beta and gamma with each other. Well, in that case, what is the value of induced EMF I am going to work out? Well, if all these three vectors B and B are not perpendicular to each other, then in the expression of induced EMF, we write down their what? Perpendicular components. If all three vectors are perpendicular to each other, we straightaway multiply them. E is equal to BLV. But if they are not perpendicular to each other, we write down their perpendicular components. So what are the perpendicular components? See, if there are two vectors A and B at certain angle theta apart, then what happens? A sin theta is perpendicular to B, or B sin theta is perpendicular to what? A. So if two vectors V1 and V2 are theta angle apart, then V1 sin theta is perpendicular to V2, or V2 sin theta is perpendicular to V1. That is, the sine component is perpendicular components. So if B and L are alpha angle apart, then what is the perpendicular component of B? Perpendicular component of B is going to be what? Say B sin alpha. B sin alpha. If angle between L and B is what? Beta. Then what is perpendicular component of L? Well, it is going to be what? L sin beta. L sin beta. This was sin alpha. Now we have what? Sin beta. And if angle between B and B is what? Gamma. We have already did the perpendicular component of B. So what is perpendicular component of V? The velocity. It would be what? V sin gamma. This is sin gamma. That means the most general expression of induced EMF is what? BLV sin alpha, sin beta and sin gamma. This is the most general expression for induced EMF. What do we need to know this general expression? It is simply because if any of these three angles, alpha, beta or gamma, out of three vectors, if any two vectors are parallel, then any one of these angle is going to be 0. If any one of these angle is going to be 0, then what happens? The value of induced EMF is 0. So if any one pair of vectors are parallel, in that case what happens? Any one of these three angles becomes 0, and sine of 0 is what? 0. In that case, induced EMF becomes what? 0. And what has been seen in your school exams or in your boards, what has been seen is, out of these three angles, two angles are given as perpendicular to each other. Two angles are given as 90 degree. Either all three are going to be perpendicular to each other, or there would be two vectors perpendicular to each other and third one would not be. So in that case, we straightway use the formula BLV sine of theta. So two angles are perpendicular to each other, only third one. This is I am telling you by experience. So out of three vectors, out of these three angles, two angles are 90 degree, only one angle is not 90. If one angle is not 90, well, we are left with only one sine term here, and the value of expression becomes BLV sine alpha. So either all three are going to be perpendicular to each other, BLV. If any of the two vectors are parallel, induced EMF is 0. If two are 90 degree, only one angle is non-90. In that case, induced EMF is going to be BLV sine of the one angle which is non-90. So in every numerical, we have to identify where is B vector, where is L vector, where is velocity vector. After identifying them, we have to proceed ahead with our workout. Children, so far we have been discussing motional electromagnetic induction due to translatory motion. Now we are going to study motional electromagnetic induction by rotational motion, in rotational motion. So what is the situation here? We have a conducting rod of length L, and it is moving in this transverse magnetic field. Magnetic field is perpendicular to the plane of paper B, and that is constant. So this rod is moving, this conducting rod of length L is moving in this transverse magnetic field with angular velocity omega, which is constant. So what is the value of induced EMF? Why is the value of induced EMF? Well, induced EMF is produced simply because as this state conductor moves in this magnetic field about one of its ends, what happens? It sweeps this area in one complete revolution. Even if it doesn't rotate, say for one complete circle, one full rotation, it sweeps area out of this circle only, out of this disc only, circular patch only. If it rotates once, then it is going to sweep this much of area. Again, as the conductor is moving through magnetic field, if it is sweeping across certain area in the magnetic field, then all magnetic line of forces lying in that area swept are the magnetic line of forces which are going to change. Change of flux is the flux lying in the area swept by conductor. So, if E is the EMF, it is going to be change of flux upon time. Let us say this rod rotates for one complete revolution. So the time of one complete revolution is going to be T, and in that one complete revolution time T, this state conductor is going to rotate once, and it is going to sweep this whole area, and this whole area is going to be what? Pi L square. What is induced EMF? Change of flux upon time. Change of flux is B into A, the area swept, upon T. What is area? Pi L square. We write down pi L square. Well, we know omega is 2 pi by T. So what do? We multiply this. You multiply this by 2 and divide this by 2. Is there any change? We multiply it by 2 and divide by 2. Now, what do we get? This is 2 pi by T. What is 2 pi by T? This 2 pi by T is nothing but angular velocity or angular frequency. So this quantity is W, that is omega. So what is induced EMF? 1 upon 2 B omega L square. This is the value of motional EMF induced across a rod of length L moving in a transverse uniform magnetic field B with angular velocity omega or angular frequency omega. Well children, what is the direction of induced EMF? What is the polarity of induced EMF? For that again we will use Fleming's left-hand rule. See, the magnetic field is cross, so in this instant, if the conductor is moving in this direction, where is thumb pointing? Thumb is pointing towards center. That means towards center would be the direction of positive charges, force over positive charges. So all positive charges would get accumulated at the center, and negative charges would be accumulating over this free end. So this is the polarity of induced EMF. See, we are finding out the polarity of induced EMF with the help of same Fleming's left-hand rule, and the value of induced EMF is this. This is very important formula, especially for those who are preparing for competitive exams. There are series of questions, 6 or 7 questions given in SC Verma, which you can work out. So children, with this we come to the end of today's class. We'll meet very shortly again with the remaining topics of this particular chapter. Thank you very much, and God bless you all.